Good evening. Welcome to a new season of the Chairman's Report brought to you by IBZ 13 and the Commission on Filipinos Overseas, an agency under the Office of the President mandated to engage with the Filipino diaspora for national development. I am Dante Klink II, Chairperson of the CFO and your program host. Every child deserves a safe and secure environment to grow and thrive. And our next guest has made this principle the heart of this work. Our guest tonight is Undersecretary Angelo Tapales, who serves as the Executive Director of the Council for the Welfare of Children, or CWC, the government agency committed to safeguarding the rights and well-being of children in the Philippines. He has dedicated his life's work to the protection of Filipino children mentally, digitally, and physiologically. The CWC is also an active member of the Interagency Council Against Trafficking. The IACAT is the government council that leads the country's effort to prevent human trafficking through coordinated action among government agencies, law enforcement, and civil society. With more than 20 years of experience in litigation and dispute resolution, arbitration, criminal law, and civil and family law, Undersecretary Tapales also serves as a member of the Philippine Institute of Arbitrators and the Philippine International Center for Conflict Resolution. Yusek Tapales, welcome to the Chairman's Report. Thank you for making time.
Isang makabatang gabi po sa ating lahat. Good evening to everybody. Thank you, Sir Klink, Chair, for inviting the Council for the Welfare of Children.
And do you mind if I call you Jello?
Just call me Jello, sir.
Well, and this is a good time also because you are kicking off our new season this new year. But before we get started, maybe just for the information of people who are not yet familiar with the Council, Yusek Jello, what is the main mandate of CWC?
Opo, Chair, the Council for the Welfare of Children is not a young agency. Actually, this is already our 51st year.
Wow.
We were created under Presidential Decree 603. This is a 1974 law under our first President Marcos. So, basically, the Council for the Welfare of Children is the focal interagency body of the government for children. So, from formulating laws, national strategies, monitoring the implementation of laws, and of course, even rallying resources from public and private sector partners. So, that's the work of the Council for the Welfare of Children. As we always say at the CWC, sabi nga namin, basta bata, kami po ang bahala.
So, the CFO po is not as old as CWC. We're celebrating our 46th anniversary this year. Pero do you think po ba meron tayong areas of cooperation? We look after the permanent and long-term migrants, including, of course, their children. Are they included in the mandate po ba of CWC?
Opo, when I assumed the position as Executive Director of the Council for the Welfare of Children, we proceeded to draft the 4th National Plan of Action for Children.
Okay.
And one of our focus points is child protection.
Okay.
And it includes all forms of violence against children, even committed against children left behind by our Filipino overseas or migrant Filipinos abroad. So we also focus on them because more often than not, they are neglected or not included in the conversation. Kaya po, we make it a point to really include them to create awareness that we have to take care of them, because they're the future of our country. But of course, if we do not protect and advance their rights, they won't be really the future.
Of course.
On the contrary, they will be burdens of society.
Right. And I was trying to look at if CFO has ever had collaborations, beyond IACAT, of course. But I couldn't find any. I don't know. You're also new to government, fairly. Just not much older than I am in government. But are you okay po ba to explore maybe collaboration with CFO and on common siguro advocacies, particularly the protection of children in the diaspora? Pwede po ba yan?
Yes, sir. Actually, the Council for the Welfare of Children is a policy-making agency. That's why we really focus on partnering on implementing agencies. We don't let that policy-making tag limit us. That's why we are active partners with the big agencies, like, of course, the Department of Justice. You have the DSWD and the Department of Education. For the CFO po, sir, we will welcome any partnership collaboration with your agency because I know know for a fact that you are doing a lot for our Filipinos overseas, and you are, of course, manning and operating the IACAT 1343,
Yes,
which is
the action
our
line, yeah.
Yes, sir. Which is a model helpline for the Makabata 1383 of the Council for the Welfare of Children, sir. So maybe we can collaborate on child protection, trafficking, or the welfare of the children left behind by our Filipinos abroad, sir.
Thank you very much, Yusek Jello. Di ko kayo pakawalan, ha? No, but seriously, what do you have po ba that's addressing mental health? Because we saw po that one of the issues that we sometimes hear from our partners is the mental health of the children who remain in the Philippines while siguro they're awaiting reunification with their family abroad. Is that, I know there are many concerns po ba, but is that something that's reached your attention? Is that something that, is there something existing that we can plug into at the council po ba there?
Sir, it's one of the focus areas of the Council for the Welfare of Children. You know, we are, of course, we have our Mental Health Act. It's a 2018 law. But, you know, if you really read the Mental Health Act, you will find a handful of child or children, the words child or children there, not even exceeding 10. So my point is, while the Mental Health Act is a laudable piece of legislation, it was crafted for the general public. And then during a time, pre-pandemic, where, of course, perhaps mental health is not on the top of mind of everybody, you know. But when we started our work at the Council for the Welfare of Children, we made it a point to focus also on the mental health of children, because we believe that it is the same. It's an equal concern, you know. It is as much a concern as any physical health problems, you know. So that's why when we conceptualized the Makabata Helpline 1383 chair, it's not just to address physical violence on children, but also stress, mental health, the spate of suicide that is, of course, we all know about what's happening all over the Philippines. It's always in the news. We partner closely with other service providers, you know, including the National Center for Mental Health, the Department of Health, to really provide services to children, you know, because if we do not protect them, as I mentioned earlier, no, they won't be burdens to society. And we don't want children harming themselves. Marami po talaga nangyayaring ganyan, Chair.
Mayroon po ba tayong data on that? Is that, or maybe at least a trend? I mean, is it increasing to a point that it deserves more attention? Or has it always been bad na talagang panahon na dapat gawan ng paraan?
I think when it comes to children, sir, all the bad data increased during the pandemic, including mental health. Opo, because of the physical restrictions, isolation, and of course, families staying together in confined places, children being subjected to corporal punishment, to violence against children, sexual abuse, whether offline or online. These have contributed to the mental health, the deterioration of the mental health of our children. So when we came out from the pandemic, the numbers are really high. But I'm happy to say, as I mentioned, as I always mention during my interviews, under this administration, all the bad numbers regarding children are going down. For instance, violence against children.
That's good news.
In 2016, based on the data of the Philippine National Police Women and Children Protection Center, the reported cases like around 26,000 plus. Last year, 2024, the number is 18,089. So there is a sharp decline from the pre-pandemic numbers. When you talk about child labor, from 800 plus thousand in 2022, we are like 514,000 or a little over 500,000 in 2024. Child poverty incidence has also gone down. Online sexual abuse or exploitation of children based on the cyber tip line reports accepted or logged at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NECMEC. This is a U.S. Organization where all platforms report.
I see.
The number of the Philippines in 2022 is like 2.7 million. In 2024 po, it went down to 1.7 million.
Okay.
It's still high, but there is really progress.
It's trending in the right way.
Yeah. And when we talk about child-friendly municipalities and cities, because annually we have a mandatory audit of our LGUs. It's called the Child-Friendly Local Governance Audit. When I came to the Council for the Welfare of Children in 2022, the child-friendly municipalities and cities like 372. But now in 2025, This year, it has gone up to 1,091 of the 1,634. It has gone up, but of course, we have a long way to go. That's why, of course, the government is not stopping.
Right, right. I have to take a quick break, but before we do, you mentioned the action line.
Yes,
Can you just brief, before we go on commercial break, can you quickly maybe explain what kind of service that provides, what kind of calls you accept, and then what's available?
Apo, the Makabata Helpline 1383 of
Makabata
the
Helpline.
Council for the Welfare of Children Chair is the pursuant to EO 79, which was signed by the President last December 6, 2024. It christened the Makabata Helpline 1383 as the central reporting mechanism for all children's concerns. So, violence against children,
abuse,
bullying,
I see.
even mental health concerns.
Wow.
A lot of children call us for some, even if they have a lot of assignments in school or parents berating them because of some offenses. Lahat po ng concerns ng bata, we accept po. No? But of course, the trick is, while we are the central monitoring system for children, we are partnering with everybody, because if the relief or intervention is beyond our mandate, we refer it to the proper office. Like the IACAT 1343, if somebody calls us and the concern is trafficking, we will surely refer to the IACAT 1343, sir.
Well, Yusek, we certainly have a lot to work
sir.
on. Please stay with us. We're talking to Yusek Jello Tapalas. The CWC will be right.
Yung tinago po nila sa akin, yung bata.
Hindi ko po iuurong yung kaso. Sinabi ko na mamubulok sa kulungan.
Unang-una po, hindi po normal para sa amin yung ganitong buhay.
Sa tuwing may inaapi, kami ang kakampi ng katotohanan at katarungan.
Ito ang programa kung saan laging patas ang batas.
Legally Speaking, tuwing linggo, alas 3 ng hapon.
They're cute, talented, and oozing with confidence. Kantahan, sayawan, modeling, at storytelling. Nangunguna ang mga batang bibo. Talents Academy, tuwing Sabado, alas 4:30 ng hapon sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante, Klink. We're talking to Yusek Jello Tapalas of the Council for the Welfare of Children, or CWC. Sir, what are, you mentioned a number of things earlier about, the problems that you're monitoring, and the good thing, as you said, is that at least the statistics report that they're trending the right way. I mean,
Yes, sir.
still high or a little bit alarmed, but going down. What are the, for this year, 2026, what are the main issues that you're looking at? Because we read a number of things in the news. For example, we've read that the Philippines seems to be one of the leading countries where there is a lot of bullying in school. Is that your priority, or you mentioned suicide rates? What are the things that are prominent on your radar?
Yes, sir. Actually, for 2026, up to 2028, actually, we call these the legacy years at the Council for the Welfare of Children. We will implement a lot of things that we are already implementing, improve on what we already have, to really make a mark on the children's sector.
Right.
So, for 2026, of course, Chair, we will still focus on violence against children. While the numbers are going
physical,
down, physical and psychological, mental, and even the online aspect, cybercrime, cyberbullying, and online sexual abuse. Because while the numbers are going down, and of course, it seems to indicate that we are doing something right, the government is doing something right in the private sector, the numbers are still alarming. For instance, for bullying, there are PISA reports tagging the Philippines as one of the countries with the highest rate of bullying. And when you say bullying, it's not just bullying, it also covers cyberbullying. But of course, I'm happy to say that in 2025, at the second semester of 2025, the Department of Education under Secretary Sani Angara revised the implementing rules and regulations of our 2013 anti-bullying law. Mukhang talagang kailangan na, no? Because the law has been existing since 2013.
Okay.
And the implementing rules and regulation has to adapt to the current landscape of bullying in the Philippines. And now, a zero report from schools is not an indication that the school is doing well.
Okay.
Perhaps it's also an indication that they are not implementing their anti-bullying policy. So it's not automatic.
Right.
Ano? So schools now, whether the public or private schools, have to implement anti-bullying policies. And the anti-bullying policies, the existing anti-bullying policies have to be amended to conform to the new implementing rules and regulations of DepEd.
Right.
So, dyan din po pumasok yung partnership namin with DepEd. We acknowledge that most of the time, children are in school. So,
Right.
we have to ensure that they are safe inside schools. And sometimes, people hesitate to report in the DepEd hotline.
Okay.
Sometimes they hesitate to report to the PNP or the Council for the Welfare of Children hotline. So we have to really join forces. So to give children a lot of options or reporting mechanisms where hotlines or helplines where to report incidents. So it's one of the perhaps focuses of the Council for the Welfare of Children. Aside from that, globally, based on NECMEC data, AI-generated child sexual abuse materials has increased in 2024 by 1,325%. So that's really alarming because all over the world,
I suppose because also technology is evolving,
because
right?
technology is evolving, and more often than not, our legislation is left behind by
It's
technology.
not keeping pace,
Yeah, but of course, the anti-OSAIC and anti-CSIM Act is a trailblazing law with a lot of foresight. So AI, there is image-based sexual abuse, which also covers a lot of AI-generated stuff. But of course, I think there are works now and discussions and proposals on how to amend the anti-OSAIC Act to further strengthen it in light of the recent technological developments. In the Philippines, we have one confirmed AI CSIM case, and this is the case of the child of a Filipino blogger. She attended the Senate investigation a few months ago at the latter part of 2025. That's the only confirmed case, but we can only surmise that there are really a lot of cases, unreported cases.
Okay.
So aside from that, aside from the AI component, we have to contend with the normal online sexual abuse, the non-AI type, because the numbers have gone down, but it's still alarming.
Okay.
We have to address also the culture of non-reporting. There are many barriers to reporting. The no touch, no harm mentality of some parents.
Yeah, sometimes they say, well,
it's just online,
just
it's just a picture or video. There is also that that mistaken belief that we should not report because it's a family thing, it's a private matter between the members of the family. So we have to address those barriers to reporting. We have to inform people that online sexual abuse is harmful to children. It's a form of violence. While perhaps in some instances there are no physical touching or physical abuse, but the mental and psychological abuse is left with the child, and
it scars them.
It scars them for life. So we have to we have to really create awareness, and it's really problematic. We are happy that the president is really behind.
I heard he's really concerned about this issue.
He is really concerned about online sexual abuse. In two of the sectoral meetings with the president, the agencies, including the Council for the Welfare of Children and of course the DILG, was able to really include indicators or targets in the child-friendly local governance audit to address OSAIC. Because the president said, we have to, at the minimum, LGUs have to have OSAIC ordinances, train people to respond to OSAIC, and really straightforward, clear to understand referral mechanisms. And we have included that in the 2025 Child-Friendly Local Governance Audit Guidelines. So marami pong ginagawa.
Lots on your plate.
But we have to do more, of course, especially now in 2026 po.
Right. Now, can I circle back to bullying, because there is my generation and perhaps older also who probably remember the typical ribbing and kanchao, di ba, in school. But it's kind of surprising maybe to some that what constitutes as bullying, and that this has actually led to another problem which you mentioned earlier, which is suicide or self-harm, di ba? So, from a legal perspective, where does the normal, I guess, back and forth among children constitute as bullying, and when should parents or teachers become concerned?
Oh, sir, that's a very good question, because public schools and more so private schools usually ask that kind of question because not all horseplaying, banter constitutes bullying. Under the 2013 Anti-Bullying Act, it is bullying whether there's physical or non-physical contact if it's serious enough to disrupt the education, the school environment, the ability of children to learn in the institution because of the physical violence or psychological violence. So not all horseplaying, friendly banter, biruan constitutes bullying. And the DepEd has clarified that in the recent revision of the implementing rules and regulations. For other acts not constituting bullying, they are now called precursors to bullying. Meaning, legally, it doesn't fall on the inside the definition of bullying. But if unchecked or unabated, if it's not abated, it might mature into bullying. So under the new implementing rules and regulations, at the outset, if a teacher sees something like that, she or he has to intervene and of course try to fix things between or among the children, the students. And it doesn't end there. She has to record that because if it persists, he will report it into to the next officer or school officer who is in charge of bullying, so that it can be documented. Because one of the usual complaints of parents or even students is that bullying cases are swept under the rug. Now teachers cannot do that. Even precursors to bullying have to be checked and have to be recorded so that we can really, monitor the safety of children inside schools.
So it crosses into bullying if there's an effect on the behavior, the school performance. So it may, so it's not standard. So I mean, if we joke and it doesn't really do anything harmful, then it's okay.
But sometimes it depends on children.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. So
if it affects, for instance, there's no physical touching, but the banter, the name calling is persistent.
That maybe leads me to miss class, for instance.
To miss class or to hate class.
That would be bullying.
That might constitute bullying.
And then what would be the intervention? How do we teach, for example, parents now? Well, because that's they say school starts at home, right? So what would be the recommendation for parents so that it's not only the bullied person who copes with it, but also to teach the other children, okay, these are your boundaries, right? You can have fun with your schoolmates, but these are the lines you should. What do we tell parents? How do we help them?
I think you hit something there that's very significant. At the Council for the Welfare of Children, we always say child protection starts at home. But of course, when we say child protection, it's not just the protection of your child. That also entails teaching your child not to harm other children. So sa bahay pa lang po, you should of course talk to your child not to
don't ignore it.
Violence against children. And what is we are thankful. We are thankful for the Department of Education when they revised the implementing rules and regulations of the Anti-Bullying Act for including an obligation there to the schools to really orient parents. Number one, to distribute the anti-bullying policies to parents and children, and to have some form of orientation or training so that parents and children would understand that they also have an obligation not to bully anyone, not to tolerate bullying, and to report any form of bullying. May tawag po dyan, yung you're not involved in the bullying, you're not the bully and not being bullied, but you are the reporter. For instance, you're a student, you can report, and that's encouraged in the new implementing rules and regulations.
And those are on your website?
It's in the DepEd website.
DepEd
I'm
website,
The new
okay.
implementing rules and regulations of the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013.
Okay, we'll end there for now. You're watching the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante. We're talking to Yusek Jelita Palace. We'll be right back.
Bagong Pilipinas. Mahalaga ang kapakanan ng bawat isa. Lahat ng aspeto ng lipunan pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng pamahalaan at ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Bagong Pilipinas, PBBM, Lingkod ng Bayan. Tuwing Linggo, alas 8:30 ng umaga.
Ating tunghayan ang mga kwentong magbibigay ng inspirasyon, kabutihan at pagkamakabayan kasama ang ating host na si Bob Ferrer dito sa Good Stories.
Malaking tulong ito sa mga kabataan, no? Dahil sila ay na-expose, nararamdaman nila na sila ay ina-appreciate, pinapalakpakan sila, hinahangaan sila.
Mga istorya ng malasakit sa kapwa, sa kapaligiran at sa komunidad nating kinabibilangan.
Sustainability will always start at home. So ang laki ng role ng isang nanay na maging halimbawa sa kanilang tahanan.
Yung kulturang Pilipino, sanay tayo sa tinatawag na bayanihan. Kahit anong kalamidad dyan, may puso pa rin ang Pilipino na mapagkawang gawa.
Good Stories, Sabado, 9:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa IBC 13.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante. We're talking to Yusek Jelita Palace. So we're going to circle back on the work that the council does with the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, IACAT. You were mentioning the online sexual abuse problem. What are the challenges there? Is it public awareness to merely educate people what is illegal, or is it more of economic, where people are driven by desperate measures, diba, to maybe use their children to put them online and solicit money? Give us maybe the lay of the land here.
Sir, I think it's a combination of both. Based on the studies on OSAIC, and there are many, if you Google it or if you use ChatGPT, from 2020 to 2025, you will find at least 10 significant studies on OSAIC in the Philippines. Based on the studies, of course, the main driver is poverty. Because most of the offenders and the facilitators here in the Philippines are living in poverty.
And then technology is now developed that it's affordable to the cell phone. And
the government, of course, is pushing for interconnectivity. So bad actors are really exploiting that, sir. But of course, aside from poverty, the lure of easy money is also a driver. And based on one study, of course, the English language proficiency of our children is also one of the causes, because sexual predators can converse with them or chat with them directly. What the government is doing, the government's push for interconnectivity and the ease of payment access, payment facilitation in the internet. Bad actors are using that. And of course, that mistaken behavior, that there is no touch, so there's no harm. So those are some of the common challenges, but that's why the studies would suggest that if we are to really curb down, or at least curb down, or even eradicate this scourge on our children, we really to have social behavioral change how we look at children. Children are not property; they're not extensions of our personality. They have rights, and these rights can be violated. And online sexual abuse is a violation of their right. So, aside from the Philippine side, because the Philippines, when it comes to online sexual abuse, is really one of the better countries, one of the trailblazing countries. We are a leader when it comes to violence against children. In fact, in 2016, we have been recognized as a pathfinding country for violence against children. Valenzuela City in the Philippines in 2019 has been hailed as the first pathfinding country in the world for violence against children. So when it comes to violence against children, including USAID, the Philippines is really doing a lot. And of course, when you check the Anti-USAID Society Act, the penalty there is from life imprisonment, then reclusion perpetual, reclusion temporal. It's really scary. But that's only half of the picture, sir, because the Philippines is a supply-side country. There is a demand-side country. So if the other countries, the other countries
where
in
the
Europe,
customers
in
come
America,
from,
where the customers come from and generate demand, do not have the same laws, or perhaps have laws, but of course the penalties are not as stiff as ours, we cannot control. So there's also a need for regional and international cooperation.
And is that happening? I mean, are you signing partnerships or bilateral agreements with,
The DOJ has signed a lot of mutual legal assistance treaties, the MLATs. We call it the MLATs for criminal cases.
I see.
Which of course includes trafficking and online sexual abuse or exploitation, but perhaps we need more. And even partnerships or collaborations short of treatises, like capacity building partnerships between our PNP and other foreign law enforcement counterparts. DICT partnering with other entities abroad, whether private or public, to to capacitate them and perhaps guide us on what the technologies are being used abroad. And for instance, in other countries, sir, to track OSAIC, there is file hashing. They use AI. AI is being used to produce SISAE, but
you mentioned that a while ago. What does that mean when it's AI online sexual abuse? Do they take a photo and then they make OI animate it? Ganun ba yun? Is that
Sir, there are many types, but in not so many words, it can be a real picture grabbed from your social media, because Filipinos
real person,
and they manipulate it into
with
something
AI.
lewd. Or totally original creation of a child, a picture of a child, an image of a child using an AI tool, and that of course is lewd. So there are two types, and some people would say that this, on this side, because a real picture was used, there is an offense. But on the other hand, since this other type is an original creation, there is it's sometimes called a victimless offense. But of course, we don't agree to that, because under the Anti-USAID Society Act, image-based sexual abuse, which of course includes deepfakes, porno, are penalized, and of course it also penalizes sexualization of children. So at the very least, for the Council for the Welfare of Children, it's a form of sexualization of children which is penalized, and of course we cannot, by any stretch or imagination, agree to the normalization of that in our society, because the next step would be actual violence, actual sexual abuse.
It leads to the other more
it's like a gateway crime. And
so, is this an area where the laws have not kept up? Are there new laws that you're pushing for to cover this new development of AI-generated online sexual abuse?
For us, the Anti-USAIC, Anti-SISAE Act already covers AI-generated SISAE. But of course, there are ways to further amend and implement perhaps strengthen, tighten the provisions to help our prosecutors and law enforcement agencies. And I think it's ongoing now. There are many consultations on how to revise the law with an end view of addressing these technological developments.
And what about making access to the internet safe? Because I was reading a few months ago, Australia, for instance, banned Australians 16 years old and younger from using social media. But of course, I know by the time people watch this, I don't know if the Supreme Court in Australia has
We'll try
resolved it. But what are your thoughts there? I mean,
Yes, sir.
is there maybe a similar need for that in the Philippines?
We are open to that. Actually,
Okay.
there's a pending legislation filed by Senator Lacson before the Senate. But that particular bill, while the inspiration is the law in Australia, it seeks to totally ban children from social media.
Yes.
So there's no age cutoff. We agree that social media and children's use of the internet should be regulated, but a total ban is perhaps not the
extreme.
best solution. It's too extreme because we
Okay.
have to balance the rights of children to protection and to information,
Right.
and of course to
In
expression.
fact, that's what the challengers are saying, that they're cut off from
Yes, sir.
society
And-
without access.
And
to
those
something.
two rights are enshrined in the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child.
I
Those
see.
are equally important rights which we have to balance. Perhaps something similar to what Australia is doing, having a cut-off age and perhaps identifying the platforms in cyberspace that will be covered by the prohibition can be a better approach.
So are you working with Senator Lacson on this, or has there been maybe a TWG or maybe some initiative of the council to bring people together, maybe
Sir,
to discuss what should be done?
We are just waiting for, because when the bill is filed
Okay.
and
You asked for
there will
comments.
be there will be committee hearings,
Yes,
and we of course we are more than willing to work with Senator Lacson because I think he is on the right track, because
Okay.
it's really, while internet is really a source of a lot of good things,
Yes.
the half of it's really harmful to children.
Right.
So he's on the right track because he saw the need
Yeah.
to protect children. But perhaps the Council for the Welfare of Children, of course, respectfully would suggest some recommendations to to better address the concern without really stifling some of the cherished rights of children.
Yeah, and it's not like online sexual abuse, also bullying.
Yes, sir.
Has been reported to happen online. But from the people, from the experts you've talked to, what are the other options? I mean, what are your thoughts, for instance, on maybe putting a rating, like on movies, diba? There's a PG, diba? There's a G,
Yes, sir.
or maybe even an R. I mean, what's the wisdom there from putting a rating on some certain social media
Sir, I
platforms,
think
channels?
that would be useful. When it comes to TV shows and movies, we are already doing that through
There's
the
a precedent
MTRC,
na, yeah.
through the MTRCB. But I think insofar as, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to the internet and social media, nobody's really rating or monitoring
maybe
it.
the council.
Maybe some other entity or
Okay.
us, if we are,
Given the resources.
given the resources and
Yeah.
the mandate, we can
Yeah.
do that, because it's like it's like a free for all there, because nobody's really monitoring. But I think that's the new frontier.
Yes,
So
yeah.
everybody should be focusing on that.
Yeah.
In short of legislation or any other body tasked to monitor that, what the Council for the Welfare of Children is doing now is really to reach out to the families, to the parents, to the people taking care of children, and even to children, to promote digital literacy.
I see.
Because the government cannot guard or safeguard everybody 24/7. We have to teach them life skills,
Right.
so that they won't be willing victims of these bad actors in the internet. So we are pushing for digital literacy, responsible parenting. We have the Parenting Effectiveness Services Act. The DSWD is preparing modules, cascading it to the LGU, so that the parents can be trained or taught to be better parents and protect their children.
Yeah, government cannot do everything. You have to
Yes, sir.
fortify.
We have to
fortify our citizens.
Yes, sir.
Yusek will be right back with the chairman's report. Please stay with us.
Sila ang mga hinalal ng taong bayan upang maisulong ang kaunlaran sa bayan at maiangat ang antas ng kabuhayan ng mamamayang Pilipino. Kasama si Miss Cathy Villar, ating kilalanin ang Senado ng Pilipinas tuwing Linggo alas 9:30 ng umaga. Sabi nila, bawal maligo pag pagod. Sabi nila, huwag matulog kapag basa ang buhok. Pero,
Doc, true ba?
sa dami ng impormasyon sa internet, alin ang dapat paniwalaan at alin nga ba ang dapat kalimutan? Kasama ang OPA host, Jerome San, at ang pambato sa medisina, Dr. Cel Martinez. This season, mas pinalakas ang team with pharma expert Natalia Austria para sagutin ang katanungan sa tamang paggamit ng gamot. Doc, true ba? Every Sunday, 7:30 a.m. on IBC 13.
What is the big vision here?
Hard-hitting.
Migration is a choice and not a necessity.
The goal of IOM and the goal of the Marcos government is really to make migration a choice. But is that a realistic aspiration, or is it more of like just a positive spin?
Critical.
How did this affect the people in Bahrain?
An OFW has no job security.
In-depth. Catch the Commission on Filipinos Overseas Chairman Dante Klink as he uncovers key initiatives shaping public welfare and national development. Chairman's Report, every Friday at 7 p.m.
Welcome back to the Chairman's Report. I'm Dante Klink. We're talking to Yusek Jello Tapales of the CWC. So, sir, what's the dream here? What's the big picture? What is the lasting mark that the council wants to make on our children or on the country?
Sir, I think our wish is really to have a child-friendly Philippines, perhaps by 2040.
Okay.
And of course, mainstreaming child rights in all levels of governance. So it's either at the national level up to the barangay level. Children and their protection and welfare should be the top of mind of everybody.
Right. Yeah, and people talk about this demographic dividend, but it is merely an opportunity. But if we don't protect our children,
yes, sir,
then that dividend will not be realized.
Yes, sir. And we are talking about 36% of our population here. So if we don't really take care,
the 110 million or so.
Yes, sir. Based on the 2020 PSA data, the latest data that they have, it's 30% of our population. So if we do not really take care of them, they won't be okay by themselves. So we should not kid ourselves that a lot of people talk about investing in children, and but very few really think of the cost of inaction.
Yes.
Because if we do not act, it's not just a zero, it's a negative. There is a cost for not protecting children. They won't be healthy, they won't be educated, they won't be protected, and they won't be productive members of society. So it's not really about investing in children, which we can perhaps do now or not do next year, or not do now, just do next year. There is an impact of our inaction has an impact also. So that's what I lovingly call the cost of inaction. And many experts agree with that. They also see that. And an expert showed me the cost of inaction in one of his presentations. We had an ASEAN event at the last quarter of 2025, and he really computed if you do not invest on the health of children within a certain age limit, it will be irreversible. So the cost to the economy is like this. If you do not push for education after a certain number of years, the cost will be this. So these are the things that our lawmakers understand: the cost of inaction, the impact on our workforce, and of course the voters. We have to have educated voters and educated Filipinos.
What can be done? Because obviously, as you say, government cannot do everything. The council cannot do everything. Because some people, for instance, they talk about interventions in school, like feeding programs and maybe improving the quality of education, which I think is admirable. But my worry is by the time the child reaches an age level where they enter the school system, wouldn't that be too late already if we don't
Yes,
start
sir.
somewhere at home. I mean,
Yes, sir.
but that's there are other agencies that looks after
Yes, sir. Yes,
families, but how do we bring them in, right?
I think the government, the current administration, is onto something good.
Okay.
Number one, by promoting parenting,
Yes,
good parenting skills.
good parenting is, I think,
because
key,
it starts,
right?
It starts at home, sir.
Yeah.
Child protection starts at home. Our parents are our first teachers,
Right.
and they rear and shape our character.
Yes.
But after we leave the confines of our homes, the teachers come in, the
Yes.
schools.
Yes.
So we have to empower our schools
Yes.
too. We have to improve our educational system. And I think that's what the government, the present administration is doing now.
Okay.
After the schools, we have to empower the communities.
Okay.
We have local councils for the protection of children from the provinces, cities, municipalities, na barangays. We have to encourage LGUs to be child-friendly. The Council for the Welfare of Children during the latter part of 2025 launched with the DILG, the DBM, and the BLGF the Child Expenditure Budget Tagging Tracking Tool. Sorry, it's the CBET. It's quite long.
Okay.
But the idea is, while the CFLGA audit monitors the programs for children being done by LGUs, the CBET will monitor if they are really putting money for their programs, to fund their programs. And it will also track if a particular LGU is overspending in protection but not really spending on health or education or child participation. There are many other concerns of children, so we have to monitor them. We have to mainstream child protection. The Council for the Welfare of Children is working, again, with partners including the DILG, for a local child safeguarding protection policy.
Okay.
This will be implemented by all our LGUs all over the Philippines.
Okay.
So at the minimum, even if there's no offense yet, there will be preventive measures or a procedure being followed by LGUs to protect children so as not to subject them to, harm and violence and child rights violations.
Right. Other, general recommendations that the council gives to, parents and say, these are the things that, things I hear as a parent. Don't let your child have access to social media, for more than the next number of hours. What about nutrition? What about, I guess, spending time together? And you layer on top of that the work that we do on migration and development, right? How do we adjust to that phenomenon?
Sir, it's really complicated.
Yeah.
I think I cannot encapsulate it with one word or one advice.
Yes.
Perhaps the most fundamental, the most basic thing is, number one, love your children. They
Okay.
are not your properties.
Yeah.
So love them. Do not expose them to violence. Do not expose them to corporal punishment. Feed them. Give them access to education. Because while the government is doing a lot of things, for instance, in 2025, Congress passed the new law mandating the creation of child development centers all over the Philippines. That's why the ECCD Council is now attached to the DILG. But if parents do not bring their children to these child development centers, or that yung dati tinatawag kong daycare centers, the government cannot do anything.
Yeah.
So it really starts at home. Let's go. Parang ganun lang, sir.
Sabi nila, it takes a village to,
It takes a village to raise a child.
raise a
But
child,
it takes everybody to protect children.
Yeah.
Not just a village, it's everybody, sir.
So this year
Everybody.
is there something that the council is, any particular reform or policy that you're pushing for that's, on top of your to-do list? 1,000,001 things to do list.
Aside from the usual things that we do, of course, we will push for that budget tagging and tracking tool, because in 2026 now, we will be expanding the pilot areas, and by 2027, this will be fully implemented.
Okay.
So
to ensure that the resources actually go to
sir. And of
where,
course, this is in line
it's
with the
needed.
government's push for accountability and
Okay.
transparency. Hindi na po pwedeng sa papel may program pero nobody's really funding it. Hindi na po
Photo
yan.
op lang sa sign.
Opo, hindi na po uso yan, sir. So we will be pushing for that. What I mentioned earlier, the local child safeguarding and protection policy, we will try to, of course, to talk to DILG to have it inserted in the child-friendly local governance audit, so that LGUs will be encouraged to use it if they want to pass it. we will be strengthening the Makabata Helpline 1383. We are working with the DSWD for the implementing guidelines. We will come up with the program handbook for guidance of our LGU partners. It's like a laundry list of all the agencies and the services the government is really is providing. So para madali po malaman nila And basically child protection lang po. We have to create awareness, sir.
Yeah.
Opo, kasi unless we have the paradigm shift, we cannot expect social behavioral change, sir. We have to change.
And I hope that the council and CFO can work together.
Yes, sir.
Part of our mission is to connect the Filipinos abroad to the Philippines politically, economically, and culturally. And maybe for the younger Filipinos, I know you have your hands full with domestic concerns, but we also have a large community abroad.
Yes, sir.
And maybe some of them would benefit from knowing where their parents came from, what is the culture and inherent practices, traditions of the Philippines. Baka maybe we can
yes, sir.
also help there, work on that together.
Perhaps we can do something like that, sir. And also with as regards children who are left in the Philippines because their parents have migrated. The impact of separation or the impact of uprooting from the usual environment. We can do something like that. There are a lot of possible collaborations and partnerships, sir, and especially with as regards trafficking. You are, of course, operating the IACAT 1343. Trafficking is still a concern in the Philippines, and
despite the fact that we have a 10-year record of tier 1,
kudos to everybody and of course the DOJ.
I'm glad that that you're not, the rest of the government is not being complacent despite that record.
We cannot rest on our laurels, so to speak. We have to do something, and of course we have to address emerging threats like that AI species of Osaek and Sisaek.
First time I've heard of that. Very troubling.
Yes, sir.
Well, Yusek Jello, I appreciate your time. This is our limit for today, but you've been very generous, and thank you for being our first guest for the new season. Before we end this episode, however, maybe you would like to leave a message for our audience?
Opo. Again, Chair Klink, thank you for inviting me and the Council for the Welfare of Children and to give for giving voice to our children. Perhaps I'll say this in Filipino or in the vernacular. Sa mga magulang, sa mga lolo't lola, sa mga nangangalaga po sa bata, isipin po natin na ang bata po ay may karapatan, dapat protektahan at dapat po pangalagaan. Sa Council for the Welfare of Children po, paulit-ulit namin sinasabi, sa bagong Pilipinas bawat bata mahalaga. Maraming salamat po.
Yusek Jello, I think it's just a very good start to a new season.
Yes, sir.
Muli maraming salamat po sa inyo. Thank you also to IBC 13 for making this program possible. This has been your Chairman's Report. I'm Dante, and I will see you next week.